It's been a bit since I've done a movie review on this channel, but I felt like I didn't have one movie. Actually, one later in this list I'll probably want to do a dedicated review to. But a lot of these are just going to be my quick opinions because there's about how many here? I'm looking at my list. 7 movies that I've seen in the past about 2 weeks. I've been slacking. I started the year off at a good pace, and then like mid February I kind of fell off because I was watching like a movie every day. But I've been kind of falling off. I've been kind of hitting a lull. Not that I have not seen bad movies, because there's one movie on here that like is probably now going to be in some of my at least top 50 or top 100. But certainly I've not been keeping up with it. My watch list is massive and huge, and there's a million movies I still want to see, but have not felt in the mood to get around and putting them on. Hopefully today I have a few days. I have a day and a half off work, so hopefully I'll catch up on a few ones I want to do and maybe make some reviews on that. With that being said, here are the 7 movies that I've seen recently. Alright, this was actually, I think, back in early March or February. I can't really remember. It was a very forgettable movie. That is The Monkey. I have not seen Longlegs. I have heard that was a good horror movie. I heard it was a good Nicolas Cage performance in it, but this was certainly not that. I did like the start of this movie where it was kind of like a vignette, kind of explaining the origins of this stupid monkey that kills people. It was actually had Ben Platt from like Parks and Rec and Severance. Okay, I'm editing this. I don't know why the fuck I said Ben Platt. I guess I had Dear Evan Hansen on the mind. But no, I meant Adam Scott from Parks and Rec and all that shit. And he was really good in it for like his 2 minutes though. And then I quickly realized this kind of just seems like this is going to be a Final Destination ripoff, which is to me exactly what it is. It's a Final Destination ripoff, except now instead of an elusive. And that's the thing I kind of liked about it. I only seen one of the Final Destination movies, but the thing I do like about it is that it's not a ghost, a goblin, a scary guy, a murderer, anything like that. It's death, which is all around us at all times, and that to me is a lot smarter of idea than just having this scary spooky monkey. Beyond that, I know a lot of people too have gotten a lot out of this film or said they were laughing throughout this movie. To me, I did not find any humor in it. I like dark humor. This was just, to me, it was bland. It was like these deaths were really boring, CGI'd out, and when you compare this movie's budget and effects to the Terrifier series, that's where, to me, Terrifier has brought a new level to small horror, to indie horror. This is not an independent movie, but that kind of small budget horror is, to me, Terrifier has now been like the championship of that, especially over this decade. And to me, they added nothing to it. It was a boring movie overall. Did not find it very funny. I found the premise of the spooky thing not very interesting. All it was is if you turn this dial, it would randomly select someone to kill. Honestly, wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but if you like those dumb horror movies, maybe you'll get more of it than me. Next is a very old film, 1938, and that is Angel with Dirty Faces. I really, really love this film. This was a recommendation from a coworker to let me borrow his DVD, and it was such a fun time. It's a very short movie from what I remember. Like, I think it's only around 80-90 minutes, so very quick and easy to put on. And I was kind of like, I've had it for a few weeks, the DVD, before I put it on, and I was kind of him and Han. Like, I was like, I do want to watch it, but you know, some of these movies from that time period might be really talky or boring in a lot of ways, but this to me was definitely not. It was an engaging story, quite funny throughout. James Cagney was absolutely excellent. I can't remember the name of the boy. I don't have the DVD on me, but the group of boys that are in this movie, I guess, were like a classic, like early comedy troupe and like group, and they were, I think, in a lot of other movies and TV shows and stuff like that in that time period, and radio, I think, maybe too, because this was like the 30s. It was excellent. It had actually really funny humor throughout. Like, it definitely stood up. There's like a really funny, terrible basketball scene, like probably the worst basketball I've ever seen played in my life. It's like super violent. He's like hitting kids and stuff, but you're still like, I like this guy. And it was an interesting story, kind of about these two fates of different people. One of it, they basically get caught at a young age stealing from a train, and only one of them gets caught running away, and he decides to keep the other guy's identity these secret and not say that he was with anyone, and he basically gets sent to prison. But when he comes out of prison, he falls back into criminal life and lifestyle. Where the other guy is now a priest, which I think it was Humphrey Bogart. So another classic actor. Really recommend this film. It's excellent. It's a fun time. It's really entertaining, and has stood up to the face of time. It's almost 100 years old now. Next, we have the DVD of this. It's When Harry Met Sally. This is like a sorry, it's all getting all blurred. But this is like a classic, obviously in romance, like rom-com. I think this is also like still quite relevant. Like it's still like a letterbox darling. Still a lot of people watch this film. Still a lot of people love this film and reference this film. And I really enjoyed it. To me, it kind of had almost a Woody Allen feel to the style of it, kind of Annie Hall-ish, but not as obviously as like referential or fourth wall breaking. But Billy Crystal is excellent in it. Just a guy who's funny but quite dark. He's always thinking about death or these kind of complicated things. And he meets Meg Ryan, who's a very smart woman, and but obviously it takes them a while to finally start dating and getting into a relationship. But yeah, it's a very good film. It's a very warm feeling film. Like the way that they film different seasons, most memorably is like fall and winter and like Christmas and stuff. And I thought it was just so well done. Definitely, I agree that it's a classic. Probably will be watching this one for many years to come. Next, we got another movie. I felt bad not liking this movie because I feel like it's part of me wanted to like it, but I couldn't fully get onto it. That is Chuck and Buck from 2000. This is a very, very strange film. This was a recommendation again from coworker. Shout out to you, Mike. But it was to me quite... I don't know where to go because I'm not too familiar with Mike White. This is like the first thing I think I've ever seen him in, other than maybe I think he's kind of done some TV shows. So maybe I've seen him, but I never recognized him. And he essentially, it's kind of reversed on the stalker story where now it's a man stalking another man in like a homosexual way, which is not really that common, especially for this time period, which I did find unique. And essentially he's this very antisocial, awkward guy who just has a lot of tragedy in his life. He just lost his mom, and now he's recently met back up with a really good old friend of his. If you'll find out that they were really, really good friends back in the day. And essentially it just made me really uncomfortable, really weird. I was hoping this would be like one of those really funny movies, like Happiness and those like really dark subject matter movies, but could still make you laugh throughout it or have that kind of stuff. I didn't really find anything that was that gripping. Also, the look of this film is terrible. It is. I understand very low budget, and I respect that. And I don't think this was a studio film or anything like that. So I do respect that it was basically probably done all by them and does not look very aesthetically pleasing. Like this is filmed in Los Angeles, and this is probably the ugliest Los Angeles I've ever seen. The camera, I think it especially had to do with what camera they chose. I'm not that technical into cameras or know all that stuff or color grading. If you were watching this video, you can see how great I am at color grading or how much I know about color grading. But I think at the same time that it was weird to watch a movie like that. And I was kind of just hoping for it would be either funnier or I could get kind of more interesting out of it. Because I just kind of I was like, yeah, this is an antisocial weird dude who had a very strange stalking and obsession with this guy from like 20 years ago. That was what I took away from it. Maybe some people think it's way better than that, and that's obviously they're right. All right, now this film, I want to rewatch it again. I want to make a video on it. I don't want to say too much if I'm waiting to make a video on it, but oh my God, was this a great movie? So it's still really blurry. There's a lot of white on it. This is Once from 2006 or 2007. It's like a Fox, I believe it's a Fox Searchlight film, but it was an independent film. Absolutely. Oh my God, was this amazing. This was actually directed and written by the guy who made Sing Street from like 2016. And I remember when I was really getting into film and getting into more of those artsy kind of films, I really enjoyed that film, and so I thought it was amazing. I was like, oh wow, I've already seen some of his work and been very impressed by it, but holy crap, is this an amazing musical, an amazing story, some amazing performances throughout. It's a very Irish movie, which I love. I coincidentally watched it like this weekend, so that was kind of perfect timing for that. But yeah, just beautiful. It's not it's not a jukebox musical, or it's not a show tuned musical. It's a folk indie songwriter. He starts off as a busker. He meets this woman, and I think to me the most beautiful thing that the story portrays is that these people didn't connect on like a sexual or relationship level, but these people connected on a musical and art level, and that is so beautiful. There's one scene, the beginning of one of the first musical scenes when they're in the music shop. I was watering up, and that's not very common for movies to do that to me, but the music was so excellent, the performance, the way that they were looking at each other, it was just excellent. I can't wait to rewatch this film. Highly recommend it. Get some really good speakers, blast it up, and be ready to have part of your soul kind of torn out by some of these lyrics and stuff like that. But excellent movie. Hopefully I'll find a way to upgrade this copy from the DVD. Recently, I've really gotten back into hockey as the Four Nations Cup, and obviously my Montreal Canadiens are playing a lot better, and now we're in a playoff spot. Not guaranteed, obviously, but we do have one close to playoff time, which is very good. So I want to rewatch one of my favorite hockey movies. This is Goon. I accidentally didn't realize this was the sequel to Goon. I've seen the first Goon years and years ago. Honestly, I didn't remember much from it. That's kind of what I was like, hey, maybe I should rewatch it, see if it was as funny as... Because some people really find that movie funny, and I thought it was okay. It was that kind of... I don't even want to say Seth Rogen humor, because I do like a lot of Seth Rogen stuff, but it's like kind of shitty Will Ferrell movie humor is kind of how I would describe it from what I remember. But I really want to rewatch it, because I also the big thing I respect about that movie was like how accurately they're able to portray hockey on ice, where a lot of like hockey movies can never nail it. It's why I hate Mighty Ducks. It's why is Iceland the top, the second ranked team to the USA? That is so stupid. But I didn't realize that. I was like, I thought this was the first movie. I bought this, but it is, I guess, Last of the Enforcers, which is the sequel. I guess it came in 2017. And when I put this on, it took me till about halfway through the movie that I was like, oh wait, this doesn't. And then I checked the DVD and I was like, oh, this is not the first one. This is a sequel. That was like how little I remember from the first one. I do want to watch the first one. I probably watch it here in the next few days just to see if I do like it. But this was very very meh, very forgettable, not very funny. Definitely the hockey scenes and the fight scenes were really excellent. But everything else was not very funny. This was directed by Jay Baruchel, the guy with the weird voice. He's a Habs fan, so I do actually like him. I don't think he's obviously the best or funniest guy, but he's an okay. I think to me, obviously, his best performance is Hiccup. Like it's like what he's basically was born to do. But yeah, he was in this movie. He also was the least funniest character, which he wrote the damn movie and directed it, so, whatever. Alright, last but not least, this is a film I really want to get around to for a long time. That is Slackers. This was the first film that really put Richard Linklater on the map. Very impressive film. A lot of directors, like the 90s was such a breakout year for so many great filmmakers and directors, and a lot of directors from that era really talk a lot about how Slackers was that first one. I know Kevin Smith has talked about how like that is basically how he made Clerks, is that he's like, oh shit, this can be a movie, I'll do this. And so it is a unique film in the sense that it doesn't really have any main characters. It doesn't have a main protagonist or anything that is trying to like, there's no MacGuffin, there's nothing that is keeping along the story. And essentially it is kind of like you're setting in a town set in Texas that is essentially, that has like a lot of young adults who are kind of figuring their way out in this world. Obviously that's kind of what your 20s are meant for, to figure out what the fuck this whole thing is all about. and usually most of us won't find the answer. This is essentially kind of that. It's a lot of moving in on people doing random things. They might be walking to the store, they might be in a cab, they might be drinking at a bar, and they're having these that's one thing, no, it is a Richard Linklater movie, so the dialogue is but dialogue, I almost feel like they're more monologues, because some of these characters don't even react or don't really even say anything back. They'll just kind of like, let's do it, like especially the cab driver in the start of the movie. It's just like purely like this while he's going on a monologue for like 5 minutes about different, it's a lot of different like philosophical and political stuff. Like there's sometimes there's a guy who was selling Nelson Mandela t-shirts, and he was like a black liberationist and was arguing for a lot of different stuff and educating people, and everyone's kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. There's people that are about anarchism, and so it's a fascinating view on different ideologies and philosophies and politics, especially for that time, and a lot of them have actually stayed quite relevant. From what I gather, this film was kind of like the burnouts from Reagan era. They talk a lot about the Bush or Bush Senior, his presidency, and it is kind of interesting because there's a few moments in this film that I was kind of like, oh shit, yeah, that's like that is what happens. I think there are even people that are like climate activists in it, so it's a fascinating film for that sense, but it's not a typical film. I kind of almost remember, like, I've seen Waking Life. That one's kind of similar to Slackers now that I've watched that one, where it's just kind of a lot of different great scenes, but it's hard to say scenes because it's like they're not acting in a normal. It's hard to say, so I kind of was left not because I don't want to judge it on like, yeah, it's not like a movie of like, I don't know, like Star Wars or something where there's an obvious plot, there's an obvious motivation, there's characters that you stay with. So I don't want to give it that kind of like harsh treatment where I'm like, well, this didn't have anything to say. It kind of left you with interesting things to think about and kind of gather, and inspirational just for how low budget, and actually the film of it, even though if it's low budget, it does look really good. It's kind of like El Mariachi, where it has a very low budget look, but it works really well for the film. So I think I gave it, I think, about like a 3.5 star. Like, it's an okay film. I recommend it, definitely. It's inspiring, especially if you're an independent filmmaker and stuff like that, how much can be done. And this led to him having, I don't know how the 1990s, 35 years of filmmaking. So very, very impressive. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate it.